Hey everybody, Jesse here from Zumbro Home Inspection. I just wanted to go over something real quick. It's just because I find this a lot when I'm doing inspections, especially when the owner's there or the potential buyers on the home inspection with me. What happens is I'll be testing GFCi's, which like what we have right here, and I couldn't believe the amount of people who didn't understand what a GFCi does. I don't mean the technicals, I mean they just don't even know if you have to reset them or if they can trip and stuff like that. And I just don't want to see people take a service call from an electrician, you know, if a GFCi trips, because they will trip every once in a while. We'll call it a nuisance trip. But they can just be easily reset. So what happens is I'll be inspecting a home and I might trip an outside GFCi, which is usually tied into the garage. And then the homeowner, they come and find me and they're like, oh, the power's out in the garage. I'm like, well, I understand, I'll be there in a minute. And they're like, well, do we need to call an electrician? I said, no, I just reset the GFCi. And then they're like, well, we have no idea what that is. So I don't want to see that situation. For people, they should understand what a GFCi does, and they shouldn't have to pay for a $50 or $75 service call for an electrician to come out to push a button when it's a simple process, and there should be almost in every house. This is a GFCi outlet. It stands for ground fault circuit interrupter. Modern houses, they should definitely be in your bathrooms, all your countertop kitchen outlets, your exterior outlets, your garage outlets, and your unfinished basement outlets should all be GFCi protected. Every outlet won't need to be a GFCi. Actually, if the GFCi is installed in the first position on the wiring run, it'll protect the rest of them. So like this GFCi in this home, it actually runs the other two bathrooms as well. So when you look at the GFCi, you'll see a couple things. You'll see here, it says test, and you'll see reset. You see here on the side, it says test monthly. To test a GFCi, it's a real simple process. You literally just push the test button. You should hear an audible pop, and the reset button should pop out. Now, just because you heard that audible pop and the reset button popped out doesn't mean that it necessarily worked. I've plugged my tester into them after I've done that, and they still had power. So you can either have a tester, they're like $5, or you can just plug something into it that you absolutely know functions. So right now, this should have no power. It does have no power. And then to reset a GFCi, you simply look for the button that says reset. You push it in until it clicks, and now the power should be back on. This specific GFCi has an LED green indicator. They all don't. Sometimes it'll be a red button and a black button. Sometimes there'll be two square buttons. They won't always look exactly like this, but they'll be the exact same concept. Now that it's reset, you can plug something into it. I have a tester. That means it's properly wired, but plug something into it that you know has power. It should have power then. Now, if a GFCi trips, that doesn't mean there's some sort of catastrophic failure of your power system. The way GFCi works is it's constantly measuring the amount of energy going through it. That would be between the positive and the negative. And if there's a difference of only 2, 3, 4 milliamps, which is a very small difference of outgoing power from incoming, it's going to think that it's grounding out. So it's going to think that it's shocking someone. It should cut off within 1/40th of a second. And at 2 or 3 milliamps at 1/40th of a second, technically you may not even feel a shock at all. If you do feel a shock, it may be like a static electricity shock, if it's functioning properly. If it's not, then you're going to get shocked hard. But what it does is, because it's in wet weather locations, exterior, garage, unfinished basement, bathrooms, counter height, kitchen, countertops, there is chances where you could have toasters, hair dryers, stuff like that plugged in, and then there's so much water around there, and it accidentally, the electric decides to ground through you instead of through the system. The GFCi will automatically stop the flow of power, and you should technically not even feel it. So that's just a quick rundown of what GFCi is, how to reset it, how to test it. So your exterior outlets will most likely be tied into a GFCi like this that's in your garage. So if you don't have any power on your exterior, go check. You'll find one of these most likely in your garage. You don't have to have one of these in each bathroom, but each bathroom should be GFCi protected. So you might not have, it just be a normal plug, and it might be downstairs or in another room, but if you check all the bathrooms, you might find one that's been tripped. They trip sometimes just because it's a very touchy measurement it's taken. Now if it trips constantly, it may be the same device. You might be using a hairdryer or something that it doesn't like, or if it just trips just randomly, you could be having a bad GFCi. That could be loose terminals in the back or just a bad GFCi. They do go bad. They're inexpensive. I just checked on Lowe's. An entire GFCi outlet right now are $15. Even if your house is older and they didn't come with GFCIs, that'd be late 80s. They should have started coming about everywhere commonplace. Mid 80s to older, they're going to be found less and less, and by the mid 70s and before, you probably won't find them anywhere. That doesn't mean that it's that you shouldn't keep your house safe. Like I said, these outlets are about $15. You probably only have in an older home one circuit in your entire kitchen and one for the bathrooms. If your electrician found the first run on the circuit, they could put a GFCi in and it would protect the entire circuit. Actually, GFCIs will also work even in very old 1960s and before 2-wire systems that are ungrounded. You can add GFCIs to those systems and it will still provide the shock protection, but notice there will be a third prong for grounding, but it will not be grounded. So you would be required, there's little stickers that come with it that says GFCI protected, no ground. That's because if you were to plug something into it with the grounding stud, like a surge protector, it would keep you from getting shocked, but it wouldn't keep equipment from getting destroyed because there'd be no ground. So basically, GFCIs can be installed on almost any electrical system on 15 and 20 amp circuits. It should be at any wet weather location, or wet weather and wet location on countertops. And if you lose power in bathrooms or kitchens or exterior, the first thing you should do is always check the GFCi and push the reset button and make sure if that turns the power back on, you'll be fine. If it keeps re-tripping over and over again, then you might have a problem, but typically they'll nuisance trip 1, 2, 3 times a year, but that's fairly common depending on what you're plugging in them. That's about it. When you do remodel, don't paint over top of GFCIs. I see that a lot where they take a roller and they paint over it. That interferes with the operation of the buttons. So take the outlet cover off, put tape over it, paint around it, pull it back off. But if you have any questions, you can call me at 931-278-5400, 931-278-5400. And just remember, if you lose power in a kitchen and in a bathroom, exterior, or a garage, check the GFCi absolutely first before you start freaking out and calling electricians so they can come push the reset button for you. All right, that's all I have. Have a great day.